Ladies and gentlemen, may we have your attention, please? All participants who are still outside, we kindly invite all of you to enter the hall, and we will start our program ASTECHNOVA 2022 immediately. Thank you so very much for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back here at Alana Hotel Yogyakarta, and we welcome you to ASTECHNOVA 2025 Day 2. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for staying with us through an exciting day of our conference program. We hope you enjoyed our session in day 1 of ASTECHNOVA 2025 and are feeling inspired with the topic. We have topic Beyond Net Zero to Climate Positive Energy Systems. And today we will have the panel session 2, and with the title Integrated Strategies for Climate Positive Energy Transitions from Buildings to Communities. This session will be led by our moderator, and let me introduce our moderator, his short profile. Dr. Ahmad Agustiawan is a lecturer at Faculty of Engineering of Universitas Gadjah Mada. He previously served as an energy expert staff in the Executive Office of the President of Republic of Indonesia, and he was an expert panelist for Indonesian Presidential Debate 2019 on energy and environment issues. He is a U.S. Asian Science and Technology Fellow at USAID Asian Foundation. He has research passion in renewable energy systems planning and applications for sustainable development. He got his PhD in renewable energy systems from Curtin University, Australia, and he got his MSc in Sustainable Energy Engineering from KTH Sweden and Bank in Electrical Engineering from Universitas Gadjah Mada. He's also a member of working group on energy self-sufficient program for Indonesia within the Institute of Research and Community Services of Universitas Gadjah Mada and Indonesian Renewable Energy Society. Project development of hybrid energy system for outermost island of Marampit in cooperation with the Ministry of Research and Technology, Indonesia. And he also an expert staff at Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources for National Energy Policy to be implemented throughout local government in Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, his specialties are solar energy system, wind energy system, hybrid energy system, renewable energy system and plannings, microgrids, mini-grids, hybrid power system, distributed power generation, and sustainable development. And now let's meet our incredible moderator. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Ahmad Agus Setiawan.
Okay, very good morning. So we have a second panel discussion today, and we have incredible resource persons. We have Mr. Dr. Dinesh Kumar, who is joined us online via Zoom. So we'll have Dr. Dinesh for the first presenter later. And then I would like to invite three presenters that can join us today in this ballroom. Professor Surya Narayan, please come on stage. Dr. Rambindra Prasad. And Dr. Sendagi Satya Utami. Ya, oke. Ya. Mau di sana. Okay, we have a topic on integrated strategies for climate positive energy transitions from buildings to communities. It's a spread quite wide area of field and research projects. We'll see, okay, Dr. Dinesh, are you ready for your presentations? Okay, good morning.
Yes.
So
Morning.
we'll have Dr. Dinesh for the first presenter because he occupied with other business. So we would like to have you 15 minutes for presentations, Dr. Dinesh, and then continued with the question and answer for 5 or 10 minutes. And then we'll come back to this stage for another discussions with three panelists. Okay, we have 15 minutes for you, starting from now.
Okay.
Dr. Dinesh, yes.
Okay. Very good morning, distinguished panelists, my dear friends, delegates, academicians from across the world. It's my honor to be presenting in the 8th ASTECHNOVA International Conference, Beyond Net Zero Pathway to Climate Positive Energy Systems. I represent Energy Management Center Kerala, the state designated agency of Bureau of Energy Efficiency, Ministry of Power, Government of India. Our mandate is to coordinate, enforce, and implement the provisions of Energy Conservation Act 2001 of India in the state level. Further, we also handle renewable energy projects like small hydropower projects and pumped storage hydropower project development through private sector engagement, and also form part of the think tank to prepare policies in the Kerala state's power sector. Today, I plan to give you a snapshot on India's energy transition journey, the progress it made, the challenges ahead, and the roadmap towards our target of net zero 2070. We cannot discuss energy transition without first acknowledging the stark reality of climate change. Across continents, as you can see, the storms in Australia or a severe drought in Africa, breaking of icebergs in Arctic or a devastating flood in South Asia, the consequences of climate change is severe and we are feeling it. The rising temperature leading to heat waves, wildfires, and we are also witnessing biodiversity losses on land and ocean. These visible signs remind us that climate change is not a distant challenge, but a present crisis that compels urgent action. And I suggest the best way to mitigate is by controlling the GHG emission in the critical sectors, power and transportation to start. Building sector is the next section. These things are early targets which we can look for in reduction of carbon dioxide. Now, looking at, I'll light upon something on this India's current status. By 2021, India emerged as the third largest emitter of greenhouse gases after China and US. Our emissions stand at about 4 billion metric ton of carbon dioxide equivalents. That is about 7% of the global total. Yet, context is important. Our per capita emission are just 2.8 tons, well below the global average. By comparison to US or China, it is not even half or one third. This is India's challenge. How to meet the aspirations of about 1/6 of the humanity while keeping the emissions low, aligned with the climate goals. We have to look into the GHG inventory also. That came from the energy consumption, mainly industries, buildings, transport. So energy is where climate action must focus on. But we have to look into other aspects as well. As far as India is concerned, we are having an energy trilemma. We can say that over balancing of energy security, sustainability, and affordability, technology, finance, and access all must come together. Prioritizing one would be risking others and leaving communities behind or creating instability. I'll just give you a snapshot of India's power sector. We generate about 1,800 billion units of electricity. That is the status of 2024-25, and meet a peak demand of about 250 gigawatts. And our energy deficit is less than 0.1%, while the total installed capacity hovers around 500 gigawatts. Near about this touching 500 gigawatts now. As you can see, about 50%, more than 50% of the cumulative installed capacity is coming from RE, thanks to the recent initiatives by the government to push for renewable energy. And but still, the base loads come from the thermal sources, while the central sector, central government and state government sector, they contribute to about 48% of the electrical installed capacity. The private sector holds 52% of the share. Now, while speaking about this 495 gigawatts of mammoth capacity, India's per capita consumption remains even now at 1/3 of the world average, even after about 75 years after its independence. Hence, this shift of energy to the fastest clean energy transition in the world is what I can say. Looking at the global context, it will be useful to place India there also. India's per capita consumption remains at 2.4 tons in 2020. Again, about 1/3 of the world's average of 6.3 tons. Historically, our contribution to cumulative carbon emission between 1850 and 2021 remained about less than 4%, despite having 17% of the world's population. Meanwhile, G20 nations together account for 75% of the global emission, as you can see, with North America and Europe contributing almost 10 times the global average per capita, though only 13% of the global population resides there. This must underline India's position. Our responsibilities are real, but our right to equitable growth must also be addressed. If we look through the various sectors, power and industry sector dominates the carbon reduction in dioxide emission in India also. But if you look at the energy balance, we can see that over these years, our total after the total specific energy consumption, our share for electricity is hardly 22%. It is slowly increasing, but still it's hardly 22%, and we are targeting to bring it to about 30% by 2030. The 22% is from 2023. It is currently hovering around 24%. And our final target by 2047, 100 years from our independence, will be around 40%. Now, shift of energy sector means mainly focusing on going for electricity. Yes, that's there. But we look for reduction of coal and gas, again there. But renewable energy sources such as solar and wind are required. That also is there. But we cannot downplay the critical element of energy efficiency and conscious consumption, because that is the one standpoint wherein further investments may be minimal. Each nation's path may differ based on their socio-economic realities. For India, it is an inclusive and balanced transformation where technology, equity, and affordable power move hand in hand. What could be the pathways and principles? India approached the transmission by principle of common but differentiated responsibility. Climate change is a global collective problem, but solutions must consider historical responsibility and current capabilities. We need a just transition. We need to think about the energy equity and access to about 1/6 of the humanity, which is fast-growing economy also. Our commitment to net 2070 should be balanced, and inalienable priorities of energy security, affordability, and accessibility should be addressed. We need a strategy which is calibrated, transition without disruption, while safeguarding inclusive growth. We have international commitments as well. At COP21, Paris, India committed to achieve 50% of the installed capacity from non-fossil fuel by 2030, which we have already achieved 5 years ahead of schedule. That was in July 2025. We have already achieved the target. We also pledged for reducing the emission emission intensity of GDP by about 45% from 2005 levels by 2030, and we are nearing the targets there as well. In addition, India also launched the global movement called Lifestyle for Environment, promoting sustainable behavior and responsible consumption, leading by example. India updated its nationally determined contribution, and the progress is significant. India now ranks among the top 10 countries in climate change performance index and is the highest ranked G20 nation. Among the, I think, the second highest ranked G20 nation. You can see that in 1990, when there was an energy shortage of about 11% and a peak demand shortage of about 20%, now we scaled from 28 billion units of electricity to 1,800 billion units in the recent time. And the peak demand met has increased from 39 gigawatts to 50 gigawatts without, now as you can see, we don't have much of a shortage. So India is progressing in a real focused way. But our actions include expanding renewables, strengthening of the grids, or deploying low carbon technologies, rationalization, but along with that rationalization of fossil fuel use, and while concentrating on organizing green taxonomy and carbon markets, and now also focusing on focus of this storage, because with the high penetration of renewables, we have to focus on storage. Otherwise, we cannot sustain the pace just like that. And our pillars of transition is anchored on two pillars: reducing emissions and increasing clean generation. To support this, we had taken some regulatory reforms and implementing policies, generation, transmission, marketing, and manufacturing initiatives. At the same time, we are integrating emerging technologies like electric mobility, smart grid, green hydrogen. All these things are there. You can see in the chart India's current RE position and also our targets for the future. And we are, as I already mentioned, we are already in track and sometimes even ahead of our schedule. So what are the sectoral implications which we may have due to this net zero target? Implications are very potent in power and transport sector. Coal-based generation is likely to peak by about 2040 and decline thereafter by almost 99% by 2060. By 2070, India could host about 5,600 gigawatts of solar and 1,800 gigawatts of wind and 225 gigawatts of nuclear capacity. We plan to have about 85% of new car sales by EVs. 80% of the freight trucks also to be EV. Blending biofuels is also a top priority. It's a shift in a massive scale towards clean mobility. In industries, coal used to peak, will be peaking by about 2040 and fall 97% by 2065. Hydrogen could meet its building, its energy demand in industries by about 20%. Industry is the one target where hydrogen can have an effect. Other sectors will need some more time, I think. Industries' energy demand can be met through hydrogen, while energy intensity drops by about 70%. In the building sector also, we are targeting to reduce its intensity by 45% in 2050. That is generally through energy efficiency and electrification that we are targeting the building sector. Here lies our challenge again. When you are pushing for renewable, our grid performances start to waver. This is a small snapshot, a compressed snapshot of 2025 June, 29th June. It was summer season in the northern part of India. Major part of our population stay there. We have seen that our frequencies fluctuated outside tolerable limits for about 8 hours time, either for high generation or due to low availability in the peak period. These things are challenges which we need to address to, like the daytime oversupply and evening deficits. The response is rapid. Therefore, we have to think about storage for flexibility. By 2020, 31, we target about 47 gigawatts of battery storage and about 25 gigawatts of pumped storage hydropower. This will be our backbone for the renewable domain's flexible grid. And if you look into it, we have already started this tendering and all processes to meet this flexibility and storage demands. India has among the largest energy storage programs in the world. By 2031-32, National Electricity Plan has 47 gigawatts of BESS, as I have already mentioned. We are also targeting a green hydrogen path. We have launched this green hydrogen mission with an initial outlay about 2,300 million US dollars. The mission aims to develop about 5 million metric tons of green hydrogen by 2030, positioning India as the global hub for green hydrogen production. This will directly support the decarbonization of hard-to-abate sectors such as industries in steel, cement, fertilizers, while also creating new industrial opportunities. As I already mentioned, energy efficiency is the one pillar stone which we cannot forget. Conscious use of energy should be the first thing we have to focus on while even going for renewable energy sector and all. We can see that this India's energy efficiency, it has actually speaking, this was the first thing we have done. Therefore, we have the Perform Achieve Trade program, which saved up 40 billion units of electricity and 110 tons of carbon dioxide emission every year. And the Ujala program for electrification of lights, LED usage, that again reduces about 48 billion units annually. And the standards and labeling program, all these things contribute to reducing our requirement for electricity. That's the reason why even now, even after this heavy push for development, we are still keeping our per capita consumption below average global requirement. The Energy Conservation Act 2001 has been prominent in driving that initiative. This new amendments in 2022 even targets for carbon credit trading schemes or green hydrogen emission reduction generation, while driving for compliances across industries, buildings, and transport sector to address to the requirements of this energy usage reduction. Talking about generation and efficiency will not be very fruitful without addressing the transmission network expansion, because a part of India generates most of its renewable energy, and a part of India do not have renewable energy access at all. Therefore, we need to have a very strong backbone of transmission network. India already have about 488,000 circuit kilometers of transmission line, world's largest single grid which we are having. We are planning to expand it to about 688,000 or 688,000 circuit kilometers of transmission line. It's a foundation for resilient and renewable dominant grid. Along with that, we have also targeted this green term ahead market. A 15 minutes schedule is given to facilitate the sale of electricity to these power exchanges. And there's also a green day ahead market. Uh, uh, Even for a daily planning, we have such a platform which helps in proper utilization of the renewable energy which we are generating. And also we are having a domestic platform for carbon credit trading, the India carbon market, to provide and incentives for economic incentives for the emission reduction and channeling the financing towards low carbon technologies, so as encouraging our industries to go for low carbon technologies. Those who are addressing it in a better way, they will be credited by Indian carbon. So our global leadership initiatives can be seen by the LIFE program, which we have already mentioned, the International Solar Alliance, which now hosts about 90 member countries and 110 signatories. Our motto of one sun, one world, one grid envisions an intercontinental power connectivity. Maybe we have already started connecting our grid to neighboring countries like Nepal, Bhutan, and all. We propose to connect it all around the world. Domestically, if you look into it, the Saubhagya scheme achieved universal household electrification, and PM Kusum is solarizing the agriculture at a record scale. These initiatives show that India is both a contributor and a convener of the global climate action. Along with that, we are also focusing on the skill development, because workforce, we have a huge population. We have to address to the employment as well. Growing workforce is there. We have to give them jobs. The Skill Council for Green Jobs is training for emerging clean energy occupation. Production-linked incentives are also in place. We have about 3 billion US dollars for solar module preparation, 2.2 billion US dollars given for battery storage, and building domestic manufacturing capability. It's called Atmanirbhar Bharat, or self-reliant India. It strengthens both sustainability and economic resilience. This said, I would like to conclude my speak. It's a story of balance, a balancing story with growth, responsibility, ambition, and inclusivity, and responsibility and ambition for inclusivity, a global inclusivity. We are close to major milestones, but we want to keep together the world in the drive. Yet the journey to net zero 2070 demands sustained collaboration from among all the nations, sectors. We request the international community here to join hand in hand for a greener future, safer future, a climate resilient future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Dinesh Kumar is a Joint Director of Energy Management Center, Kerala, Government of Kerala, India. So it is very interesting topics, talking state of Kerala, experiencing many things, utilizing all resources. The special things about India already utilize nuclear energy, and also renewable energy sources from all different resources. And later on, Professor Surinaren also will discuss about it. But we have time for Mr. Dinesh for question and answer. I would like to invite from audience, if you have any question, please raise your hand. We'll discuss that, and then we can conclude with Mr. Dinesh. Please, any question from audience? When yesterday we discussed about nuclear and things like that one, and then we asked about how Indonesia will utilize that for our power, and then now we have this experiencing issues on how to utilize nuclear, how how to utilize renewable energy, things like that in one mix of utilization. So I think it will be very interesting for discussion. Any question from audience? No question? Okay. Mr. Dinesh, I would
Nuclear
like...
need to be the backbone. It's like a base load which we cannot address with the renewable energy at times. But therefore, we have to give some importance to nuclear energy as well. That's we cannot avoid that. But if you consider India's total generation, it will be hardly 5%, even at the time of net zero goals.
Okay,
that's what I see.
Great. So, talking about number of population in India, we know that now India surpassing China, right? More than 1 million.
Yes, I think we have already surpassed.
Yeah, it will be quite interesting things when we talk about this, how to supply energy for this growing population in India as well. So how will you balance between issues, resources, depleting resources, as well as emissions and other issues? And if you can discuss more on economical things, how to generate economical issues on all this business, Mr.
As I told you, India is speaking about mass, the scale. Our scale is huge. We can even, our domestic market by itself can propel its growth, but we are also focusing ourselves as a global manufacturing hub. Therefore, our workforce can be engaged suitably in either in renewable energy sector or even for this energy efficiency sector. Therefore, we are actually equipped. I would say it is also driving our development, because when you are generating this sort of work, more and more production, that means it is driving our economy also. That means it will be developing our country. Simultaneously, we will be developing our country as well as we are helping out for the world as well. That's the way we are focusing. And you can see that I have already mentioned about this Atmanirbhar Bharat, wherein we are depending on ourselves, becoming self-reliant for meeting our goals. Once you meet our goals, we are always there to support the world community also. And we have been very focused in that, as our Prime Minister has been saying. We look for a one sun, one world, one grid motto. That's what I think.
Okay, thank you very much, Dinesh. And give applause to Mr. Dinesh. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, now we have three panelist presenters in this ballroom, so we can discuss more. Yeah, and I would like to invite Professor Surya Narayan as a next presenter. He's Associate Dean Research, JSS Science and Technology University. He's currently serving as the Associate Dean of Research, and prior to this role, he was the Deputy Director of Research at Vinayaka Missions Research Foundation, Deemed University in India. He was also some awards and achievements, visiting scientist fellowship, postdoctoral fellow, and also Young Scientist Award from Government of India. So time is your, Professor.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed, for a nice introduction. Good morning to everyone. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. And I also acknowledge the presence of our esteemed panel members, distinguished guests, and distinguished participants who are all dedicated for the energy security and providing the sustainable solutions for the greener future. Today, my presentation is about India's green industrial policy, though Dr. Dinesh highlighted about the India's progress towards the net zero, I would like to highlight the specific policy-related initiatives taken by the Government of India. So my talk is about the green industrial policy, the pathway towards the sustainable green future. Okay, thank you. So my presentation is about India's current policy landscape and highlighting the 5 core pillars for green industrial policy and working towards the sectoral pathways of power, steel, mobility and circular economy. I would like to highlight the financial mechanisms and the skill development and research and development enablers. And finally, concluding with the recommendations that balances the industrial competitiveness with the India's climate goal and sustainable development goal. Next. So as Dr. Dinesh highlighted, India is the fastest growing economy and the largest economy, having the 7.8 GDP growth rate. And India sets the target of GDP manufacturing sector itself for 25% in the year 2030. The programs like the Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat, nothing but the self-reliant India, these are all the key initiatives by the Government of India that creating the momentum for industrial expansion. The India's growth story comes with the 2 challenges. One is whether we have to see the industrial growth as well as the see the climate commitments. So India is committed with the climate commitment with in the conference COP26 in UK Glasgow, and India pledged to achieve the net zero target by 2070 with the ambitious interim target of 2030 with achieving 500 gigawatt only from the non-renewable energy resources. Also emission reduction intensity. Next slide. So as I said, it came with the 2 challenges. One is industrial growth and the other side, the climate commitment. The challenge is not choosing the one over the other, but we need to design the growth models with a balance that should address competitive and resilient and environmentally sustainable. Next slide. So green industrial policy is a deliberate policy tool that promotes the low carbon, resource efficient manufacturing while also maintaining the economic competitiveness and social inclusion. It is nothing but, in other words, we can say supporting the industries, those who are contributing to the economy in the future. Also, at the same time, we have to see the negative externalities, reduction of the negative externalities from the production. So India's green industrial policy lies with key principles. One is the combination of technology push and demand pull. We have to support the innovation while creating the markets for green products. And also we have to ensure that transition, ensuring the workers and communities that are not left behind in the shift from the fossil intensive to the renewable energy industry. And adoption of circular economy, we have to use the resources efficiently, and the waste should become a feedstock for the new industries. Inclusive growth is very, very essential because these policies should benefit the small enterprises, rural communities, as well as the local supply chains along with the large corporates. It should not help only the large corporates, but it is also help for the local communities as well as the small, medium enterprises. So together these measures, we can see how the green industrial policy will help the sustainable future for a country. Next slide. India does not have the unified single green industrial policy. Like the other countries like Germany, they have the exclusive green industrial policy called Energy Wende. It's a national policy for transition from the fossil fuel to renewable energy. For South Korea, they have the new Green Deal in 2020 after the post-COVID. The strategy focused on the green industries. And Japan, they have the green growth strategy, carbon neutrality 2050, and focusing on the hydrogen, offshore wind, and electric vehicle manufacturing and carbon recycling. The very famous one is the European Green Deal introduced in 2019, Europe-wide strategy promoting the clean technologies. Whereas India's approach is totally different because it distributed across many interconnected missions and the fiscal incentives and the sector-specific frameworks. If we come across the India's progress in the past few decades, there are several key milestones have been achieved. The number one is in 2010, India introduced the National Solar Mission. That was created first strong market signal for the renewable energy. And fast forward in 2023, India introduced the Green Hydrogen Mission, with the investment of $2.4 billion to develop the green hydrogen ecosystem and manufacturing that aims to establish India as the global hub for hydrogen production. In 2024, India introduced the Green Steel Certification Program by Bureau of Energy Efficiency, the certification framework for the low carbon steel production methods. In 2025, major reforms in the tax reduction, GST reduction really helping for the renewable industries, especially in the cost reduction in the solar panels, wind energy equipment, and that boosts the domestic manufacturing. States also contributing significantly. They are establishing the industrial parks and economic zones, special economic zones for clean technology manufacturing across the India. So together, these key building blocks are definitely helping India's success towards the net zero emissions as well as the sustainable green future. Next slide. I would like to highlight the key milestones as Dr. Dinesh mentioned. India's solar mission was the flagship program of Government of India. It was introduced in the year 2010 under the plan on climate change. Initially, we set the target for 20,000 megawatt. In 2022. Later, we revised to 100 gigawatt under the broader plan. It has several benefits. Dramatic reduction in the solar tariff, approximately 2 rupees per kilowatt, now cost competitive with the coal. And we boosted the employment. Nearly we created 200,000 employment only from the solar value chain. And we enhanced the energy accesses, off-grid applications, rooftop solar, and installing the solar panels in the rural and remote areas also. In the future step, India want to achieve the goal by COP26. Already we achieved 100 gigawatt electricity capacity from the solar panel. We planning to establish more solar panel power projects in our floating solar project under the dams and reservoirs and the river systems. Next slide. These are all some of the examples of the world, the Asia's largest floating solar panels. The National Thermal Power Corporation installed the floating solar power plant in Ramagundam in Andhra Pradesh, having 100 megawatt capacity. Omkareshwar from Madhya Pradesh installed capacity for 600 megawatt. India's largest floating solar power project spread across 35 acres of water body in Kerala that has the capacity of 101 megawatt power. So these are all some of the initiatives came up from the India Solar Mission. Next slide. The another flagship program is National Electricity Mobility Mission, launched in the year 2013 to promote the adoption and manufacturing of electric and hybrid vehicles. It helps to reduce the dependence on the oil imports of India and cuts the vehicular emissions and air pollutions, that promotes the domestic electric vehicle industry and also generate a considerable employment and R&D growth. So far, India achieved through the FAME India framework, that is the fiscal incentive program, over 1.5 million electric vehicles so far supported under this initiative. We are focusing on the charging infrastructure across the India, that also encouraging the private sector for electric vehicle manufacturing and startups. Our future goals through this mission was to achieve 30% electric vehicle penetration in the market by 2030. We want to expand the electric vehicle charging networks across the nation because India is a vast country. It's really challenging to establish the national charging facilities that India is addressing. Strengthening the battery manufacturing and recycling also crucial. And we are integrating the renewable energy, as Dr. Dinesh said, integrating into smart grid systems. Positions these initiatives that definitely positions India as the global electric manufacturing hub in the future. Next slide, please. So the National Electric Mission is also leads to the FAME India scheme, that is the fiscal incentive scheme. It's called Faster Adoption and Electric Manufacturing and Hybrid Electric Vehicles. It was started with the phase 2 of 10,000 crore budget of Indian rupees. We are supporting the manufacturer as well as the buyers with the incentives. Almost 40% of the price will be given as incentives to those who are procuring the e-vehicles. So that was the great initiatives by the government of India supporting the electric vehicle movement in India. And we already installed 30,000 electric charging infrastructure facilities across metros and smart cities and highways as well as in the hill areas. So anyone from the buyers and manufacturers, infrastructure creators can avail these financial initiatives by Government of India. Next slide. Another recent flagship program of Government of India is India's National Green Hydrogen Mission. It was launched in the year 2013 with an investment of 2.41 billion of US dollar investment, aims to make India as the global hub for the green hydrogen production. The uses for this mission is to decarbonize the steel sector, fertilizer sector, refining industries, and mobility sectors, so that we can dramatically cut the fossil fuel imports and save the forex investment. And we are estimated that it can create the 600,000 jobs by 2030. It is also estimated we can abate approximately 100 million metric tons of carbon dioxide emissions annually. So this initiative is already progressing in a positive manner. The future goals, as Dr. Dinesh also mentioned, we want to produce 5 million metric ton of green hydrogen in the year 2030. That should add approximately 125 gigawatt of renewable energy capacity of India's total energy. Next slide. So to implement the green industrial policy, it depends on the 5 interdependent pillars. The first one is demand creation. The government should create the demand and it should mandate the industries as well as the institutions to procure the green products, and introducing the consumer incentives and providing the facilitation for international markets definitely helps for industrial green transformation. The second pillar is the targeted incentive and production-linked incentive schemes. Cluster-based manufacturing developments also boost the domestic manufacturing. And finance and de-risking is the crucial factor. The mobilization of the concessional capital and the credit guarantees, introducing the green bonds definitely should lower the investment cost that attract the investors as well as the stakeholders. Skill and just transition, as I mentioned before, we have to reskill the renewables energy sector people, electric vehicle manufacturing and recycling sectors. Attractive transition packages is also helpful for the fossil sector workers. And finally, the R&D, we have to create the strong innovation ecosystem with testing facilities and certification systems. Altogether, it will create the robust policy ecosystem that not only supports the industry transition and also helps India's positions in the global level as the leader for green energy producer. Next slide. We have the essential policy instruments in place, wide variety of options for the policymakers. Tax breaks, as I said, subsidies and concessional tariffs, GST reduction, make India green products as more affordable. We have the flexible financial instruments. We have the regulatory frameworks is also in place. We are demanding the market, pushing the green industry-based procurement. Because these measures definitely should be calibrated very carefully, because overuse of subsidies sometimes leads to the market distortions, and also underuse of standards also should stall the progress. Next slide, please. So I would like to highlight the 4 key sectors. Next, pathways. Next slide. Power and energy, power and renewable sectors is the cornerstones of India's green industry transition. We set the targets for 500 gigawatts of renewable energy by the year 2030. That should create 1 million jobs directly or indirectly from the renewable sector. To meet this target, India dramatically should scale up solar and wind power capacity, and we have to increase the battery storages capacity systems, and electrolyzer manufacturing for green hydrogen is also to be scaled up. We should have the policy supporting driving that also already creating the momentum. We have the competitive renewable energy actions, production-linked incentives for the domestic solar modules, and supporting for the battery gigafactories, as Dinesh mentioned, already created the momentum in the power sectors. Next slide. Though it is giving the growth, but it also has the challenges and opportunities, because renewable energy is the intermittent. We need to invest a huge amount in grid flexibility and transmission and storage investment. That should help the second priority of localizing the supply chain and reduce the import dependence on critical materials and modules. That should promote the domestic manufacturing, expand the renewables, and create the quality jobs, and also strengthen the energy security and reduce the trade deficit. Outcome is definitely lowering the emissions and provide the affordable electricity to the households and industries. Next slide. Coming to the second industry, the steel industry is the major highly intensive, energy intensive industry. We have the capacity of 122 metric ton of finished steel in the year 23. And this growth is expected year on year 7 to 8%. 48% of the crude steel at present produced from the coal-based blast furnace, basic oxygen furnace method. We are emitting 297 million tons of carbon dioxide from the steel industry itself. So carbon dioxide emissions rose 2.5% annually. From the Center for Energy and Environment and Water analysis shows that we need nearly 283 billion of US dollar additional capex required to meet the net zero. Okay, thank you. Due to the limited time, I want to skip some slides. Next slide. So cement industry also the major industry, the world second industry. Next slide. The sector pathway for the steel industry, we want to shift to the direct induced iron and electric arc furnaces that should be powered by the renewables and green hydrogen in the future. For cement industry, we are thinking of the alternative materials and the energy efficiency improvement, and also thinking of the critical technology of carbon capture, utilization and storage for the long term. Next slide. The another major sector is chemical and fertilizers. We are positioned in the 6th largest producer of chemicals because this is the critical for agriculture and manufacturing. Energy intensive, large use of natural gas and coal and naphthalene. So significantly they are emitting the CO2 and nitrous oxide emissions. This should be addressed. Next slide. So we are also in the green ammonia pilot projects across the many states. Research and development is very, very critical because the low carbon chemical process still under the demonstration stage in the global level. So we have the plenty of options for research and development in these low carbon chemical processes, and we have to develop the indigenous technologies and build the R&D sectors across the India. Next slide. So the mobility sector is the major sector. We have 230 airports and 40,000 kilometers of railways, 7,500 kilometers of coast, and you can imagine how much green gas emissions are happening from these sectors. So we want to abate of this kind of pollutions. We are already in the progress. Next slide. So the many policies, as I mentioned, boosting the electric vehicle manufacturing, and also not only for the four-wheelers, also we are focusing on two-wheelers and three-wheelers and freight transports also. The challenges are high battery cost, limited charging networks, and the lack of recycling infrastructure that should be addressed by the effective measures of Government of India initiatives. Definitely, it will give the long-term benefits, improved urban air quality, reducing the oil imports and export opportunities for vehicles in the global components at the emerge as the global manufacturers of electric vehicle mobility. Next slide. Circular economy, definitely it should help for the circular economy. Green industrial policy should address the principles of circular economy. Next slide. States also playing the major role. Though the central government is bringing the broad national agenda, states are playing the crucial role in implementation and innovations. There are plenty of clusters are created across India, and opportunities for the states. We are introducing the tailor-based incentive packages, green economic zones, and providing the land and infrastructure with the concessional cost to the green industries. Next slide. Finance, as per the estimate, states that we need trillions of dollars required to meet the net zero targets by 2030. We have to mobilize this scale through capital, domestic banks, development financial institutions, sovereign bonds, multilateral bands, blended finance and viability gap funding, risk-sharing facilities, de-risking mechanisms definitely helps to attract the investors to come with the open-minded to invest in these sectors. Next slide. Measurement standard, as you understand, we should ensure the credibility and assure the investors and regulators to feel that this industry is safe for investment. Next slide. So we, definitely it is going to help for green economy, plenty of job opportunities. There are challenges, but we have to overcome the challenges with robust training and capacity building programs. Next slide. R&D innovations is definitely priority because no policy will sustain without having the continuous R&D. So we need to build the R&D is very essentials. The priorities for India at present, electrolyzers for green hydrogen, advanced battery chemistries and low carbon cement. The enablers for this initiative, university industry cluster is very, very essential because university, we are a strong belief in academia and researchers from the university definitely help for these innovations for green products in the future. Next slide. We set the 3 targets, short-term and mid-term and long-term targets. I don't have time to explain in detail. Next slide. So challenges we have to mitigate, and the bottom line for the challenges, these challenges should be treated as the risk for the strategic challenges that should build the resilient and adaptive policies. Next slide. So monitoring KPI is very much essential for giving the confidence on the investors. Next slide. So there are 8 policy recommendations. I don't want to highlight. So national coordination framework is very much essential because at present the policies across different states are different. So we need the coordinated framework across states as well as the central government and key stakeholders. Green procurement mandatory should be done so that green products will be more procured by the government agencies as well as the other organizations. Blended finance facility is recommended. Standards and certification systems very much essential. And green skill development programs should be done. 2 million workers across green industries should be trained within 2030. And the flagship industrial clusters should be established across India. And we have to gradually standards, we have to tighten the standards. And the real-time KPI dashboard definitely will give the transparency and data-driven decisions making. With this, I would like to conclude that the green industrial policy is nothing but not trade between the growth and sustainability. It is also redefining the growth itself. We should need the coordinated multi-stakeholder approach for competitiveness, energy security and environmental leadership. Call for action is multi-stakeholder task force to be created from central and state government, industry associations, academia, as well as the financial institutions. So that should ensure the coherence and predictability and just transition for investor and society. With this, with the largest growing major economy and abundant renewable energy sources, India should capture this opportunity, and that should uniquely position India to lead the green global industrial transformation. These are some of the key references I referred. With this, I thank the organizers for giving this opportunity. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Professor Surya Narayan. It's really comprehensive information on how India will tackle this energy transition with all challenges and issues there. So I would like to give next opportunity to the next presenter. He's from Nepal. You know Nepal, yeah? What happened to Nepal just recently? He will talk about. No. He will talk about more on energy. So you have 15 minutes. Professor Dr. Rabindra Prasad Dakal is from Nepal Academy of Science and Technology. Time is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Professor, giving me ample opportunities to share my research findings. Today, I will definitely talk about the scope and the opportunity of the circular economy through materials recovery and waste management of Nepal scenario, because this is very much important for the net zero emissions, and which is also necessary for the sustainable development. So I am working in Nepal Academy of Science and Technology as a secretary, but I am presenting here as a scientist. So this is my key role that I can better contribute on it. So I know that there is a diplomatic relationship between the Nepal and the Indonesia, in which 1960 that we have diplomatic relationship established, and we both are the founding members of the non-aligned movements also. And we have the diplomatic relationship with each other, but our embassies, like the Malaysian embassy will look after the Indonesia, and the Dhaka embassy will look after the Nepal. So this is how we are getting connected with. And then both countries are working to deepen the cooperations on the tourism, culture, trade, and recognizing shared values and the potential for growth in this sector. But we need to work for the academic sector as well onwards, yeah. Sorry. And I will also give the brief introductions of the Nepal, that Nepal is a landlocked country located in the India and China, and is a home to Mount Everest and the world's world's highest peaks. That means 14 highest, higher peak than 8,000 meters. All are located in Nepal. And the country boasts a unique topography with the vast plains in the south and the high mountains in the north, and population size about 30, maybe 1/10 of your Indonesian populations. And the key feature is the home to Mount Everest and birthplace of Lord Buddha, best open laboratory, not only for the mountains and other things, but it also has the natural calamities, climate changes, geospatial distributions of the bioresources. And then laboratory is also located in the highest altitude of the world for the high altitude research center. So these are some special feature of Nepal's. So Nepal Academy of Science and Technology also do research and support the researcher in the countries, which was established in 1982 and called as the RONAST. But in 2007, when the country became republic, its name converted into the NAST. So Nepal Academy of Science and Technology, which has broader mandate and working as the apex body of the government of Nepal. So these are some research activities that our research center are conducting, basically mostly focusing on the kind of the biomaterials resources, utilizations and prospecting of these materials, and then climate change and some other issues are their primary concerns. And the Faculty of Technology, which I was leading prior to be a secretary, but I am also looking after the bioenergy sector, where biofuel, biochar, waste management is my major research concerns, and where we are also working with the Space Research Center, Disaster Risk Management Center, and the early warning that we are trying to develop for the earthquake early warning systems and other activities in the department. So when we talk about the SDGs in actions, that we have to think about the people, prosperity, peace, partnerships, and the planet, in which Nepal could think about the ethnic diversity, because even though the Nepal is a very small country, but it is ethnically diversified. And countries, but still big populations, huge demographic dividend, but there is problem of the out-migrations of the huge populations are basically the academic peoples. And the planet, that we pollute less to the planet Earth, but we are highly vulnerable in this context. So we have to think about supporting the planet. The partnerships, Nepal is a very friendly nation to the, and very neutral to the politics and maybe global, global politics also, and open for the world. And the peace, we fought many wars, as he rightly mentions that we have just settled down some kind of the Gen Z movement, but we can settle down in the very amicable environments very shortly. This is our character also. And the prosperity, long way to go, but still we have to consider a GNH, like global national happiness index, and then of course we need to think about the GDP afterwards. So I will definitely talk about the materials recovery patterns in which we can contribute, or maybe the global scenario through the sustainability, like take, make, use, dispose, and the pollute patterns has to be tending up to the, the cyclic goals, like the recycle, make, use, reuse, and remake patterns should be followed. So these are the linear models in which we have seen the many problems, like the rapid urbanizations coupled with the shifting consumption pattern create unsustainable linear systems, and that has the impacted on sustainable resource extractions and the massive waste generations, and that give the consequences of high reliance on the resource imports, creating economical fragility, and that at the end of life reality from where we can expect more waste ends up in the dumps or poorly managed landfill site, leading to the severe environmental and public health hazards, rather than, so we lose the important or precious materials also. So beyond the waste management, the circular economy is very important, that where materials are kept at their highest utility and value at all times, that we have to think about eliminate waste and pollutions by design, circulate products and materials at the highest value, and regenerate the natural system that we have to consider. So the informal material recovery network, the materials recovery and the value chains that has to be contributed by the informal sector that we are practicing in Nepal, where that waste picker, scavenger and scrap dealers, kavadi shops are also contributing to recycles in Nepal. So this informal network recovers approximately of the recyclable materials generated in the Kathmandu Valley, and that has the, formalizing the integrating this sector is crucial for the scaling circular economy, providing safer work and the accurate data capture. So there are three different parameters we have to consider about the biological loop, technical loop, and the shared service loops, in which business models focused on maximizing assets use, that is a product as a service shifting platforms that can circular economy can better contribute. And if we see the waste compositions of Nepal, we have seen so far that organic waste is about the 40%, but we have the problem that there are huge amount of the resources are unclassified, which also contribute about the 25%, and the paper, plastics, and other materials that has to be collected and then used for the circular economy. The goal is to decoupling economic growth for the finite resource consumptions, because the Nepal is not that much rich in the kind of the generations of the several materials used for their daily lives. So we have to think about the 3R or maybe more than 3R for moving past simple reduce, reuse, recycle to product life cycle extensions and the systematic design, so that we can contribute better on the circular economy of Nepal. So in the recent data, what we can see that the general waste generations per capita is a 300 gram, with the organic waste is about contributing 56%. And in Kathmandu Valley or urban area, there is of course a bit higher of this value. So considering the 7.9 kg per capita per year, which is very less than global generations of plastic waste generations in context of global standard. So in challenges in Nepal, we can talk about the inadequate waste management. Nepal faces significant challenge due to its limited infrastructure for proper waste management. Environmental pollutions is there. Without effective systematic, plastic waste is not kept out of the environment and continue to pollute. So these are the major problems that we have seen so far. And the resources in electronic waste, where there is a huge investment of energy, but at the same time, what we can say that there is a huge scope that some typical gold ore, which may consist 1 to 3 grams per ton, but if we go to the electronic waste, as urban mining, we can collect huge amount of the resources without damping the environment. So these perspective has to be considered as the urban mining concept, I think, which is equally important for the Indonesia also. So now, as a scientist, what we can contribute is, there is a selectivity options and there is a specificity options, because if you want to target the gold, then we can develop the material so that we can only target the gold in which the functional groups of the biopolymers or the materials could be converted into the more functional materials, in which I think I have developed my own product, like the ketosans was being converted into thiol groups, so which can target only the gold. And that can also give some impressions that how much the gold, palladium, copper, like the precious metal ions are important for the international or say global economy, in which we can calculate how much gold can be extracted from the electronic waste. For example, One mobile phone set consists about 0.034 gram of the gold, and Nepal has at least circulated 33 million mobile phone sets in Nepal. So out of these 33 mobile phone sets in the market, that consists about 1,122 kg gold, and the current price of the gold in the market is 197,000 Nepali rupees. So eventually, if you calculate all values, we can collect the 22.1 billion Nepali rupees only from the gold of consisting in the mobile phone. That is about 115 million USD. So in the same times, if you talk about the precious metal ions, but instead of that, we have the huge resources loss as a plastic wastage, in which we can convert this waste plastic by the pyrolysis process into the fuel, and that fuels also have the opportunities to upgrade and use for the general use of the maybe in the running vehicles and other activities. So in my laboratory, I have converted these waste plastics into the crude oil, and that crude oil can be fragmented into diesel, petrol, paraffin, and other materials, and we have used and we have studied by using some catalyst on nanomaterials used for the performance enhancements, in which we can find out the many usable fuels from the waste plastic stream. So I have also established the plastic to fuel laboratory in our academy to conduct the research activities. And what we found is out of the 7 different types of the plastic wastage, maximum the yield could be 1 liter of fuel from the 1 kg of the plastic could be obtained, but in average like the 50 to 60% of the plastic oil could be obtained from the plastic wastage. So on calculating all these values, that what we found that whole Nepal scenario at high end, that there is a 28 million populations. The ADV report for the 2011 is just 0.317 waste generations, in which the 12% plastic composition. And if we calculate 50% oil plastic recycled and 60% oil conversions rate, in which we can calculate that there is a 83 million USD could be obtained from the fuel generations from the waste plastic itself generated from Nepal. So another huge amount of the wastage materials could be the biomass, in which organic wastage could be converted into the charcoal, and the charcoal could be considered as the biochar, and biochar could be treated or used as a fertilizer for the organic farming practices, in which you can see that the huge amount of the biomass could be converted into the charcoal instead of making them decayed and then release the methane in the atmosphere. So in that context, what we found that we compared the several different kind of the kilns in the laboratories, and we have comparison how safe the use of the kind of the open kiln, but there is a we have less amount of the carbon monoxide generated, and particulate materials also being very much reduced by these methods. And we found that the prospecting of the black carbon could be seen here, because total municipal solid waste generated in whole Nepal could be 524,000 tons per year, and the classified organic waste, if you consider 56% out of it, and the solid mass after the moisture content removed, that is 50% moisture content assumptions was considered here, but by which we can obtain 146,000 tons of the solid biomass, which can be converted 1/3 of this solid biomass into the carbon. So that means 48,000 tons, in which price of the charcoal, considering 250 USD per ton, could be 12.2 million USD could be generated from the biomass wastage generated in Nepal itself. So if you consider about the cumulative resources loss, we only gold and the cell phone set only, plastics and solid biomass, if we consider these values, then we can think that 1122 kg of the gold, is being lost every year, and 394,000 tons of the solid biomass and 146,000 tons of the plastics is being dumped or maybe flown out with the river and finally arrive to the oceans, which create the problem of the plastic pollutions in the oceans and the microplastics in our Himalayas, and then we have seen in the glacier as well. So in this context, waste from the west, wastage, that we have seen that 95 million USD could be collected. So if you consider about the Indonesian context, you can multiply it by 3 because you have the 3 times higher populations than Nepal itself. So we are trying our best to give some kind of the research findings and then scaling to the piloting scales in which waste plastics, we have developed some pyrolytic plastic pyrolysis pilot plant, and then like waste cooking oils and non-edible oils being converted into the biodiesels, and then we are also trying to piloting of it, and then biochar initiatives also taken to the community and the farmers so that they can use or implement in their farms. So this is how we are trying our best to convince the people with evidence supported informations and the policy to the general government. So as a conclusions and recommendations, what I can tell you that the circular economy is the most strategic and financially viable route for Nepal to address its waste crisis, enhance resource security, and driven inclusive green growth. And circular economy represents a paradigm shift from burden to the opportunity. So, but we still need to think about that there are 3 strategic pillars. One is the policy and regulation implement mandatory EPR for the key waste streams, plastic, e-waste, and solid biomass, and enforce source segregations nationally. And another is the infrastructure and investment is necessary where we can prioritize the public-private investment in the decentralized organic processing and modernizing MRFS, and inclusions and the empowerment, formalize and upskill the informal waste sector, integrating them as a core component of the new circular and the value chain. So that's it for today's forum. And thank you very much giving me such a nice opportunity to share what we have done in Nepal's case. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rabindra Prasad Dakal. He's the Secretary of Nepal Academy of Science and Technology. So you mentioned about solid waste, waste in general and the circular economy opportunity for dealing with all these issues, yeah. And you multiply by 3 for Indonesia. How about with India? Maybe more. So last but not least, we have Dr. Sendagi. Yeah, Dr. Sendagi. Yeah.
Check.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Wait for the, okay. Okay, thank you very much, Pak Ahmad Agus. Okay. Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, participants of ASTECHNOVA. I'm very happy to be here, and it is a delight honor from the committee to invite me and also our team from JetScript. So first of all, I thought that I was going to present first because, you know, ladies first, but but I think the way Pak Ahmad Agus arranged everything is very good because we talk about transition energy with the renewable energy part, and then also we talk about circular economy, green technology, with everything is there in what I'm going to present, an object which we call buildings. So this is a very good way for Pak Ahmad Agus to arrange this talk. Anyway, I'm here on behalf of Center of Development for Smart and Green Building, JetScript. It's kind of difficult to pronounce it, whether it's in Indonesia or in English, JetScript. I'm doing, or I'm going to present our work in the last year or the past 2 years, outlook towards net zero emission building implementation for a sustainable city. So JetScript was actually started or initiated from a research group, Integrated Smart and Green Building, in the year of 2012 in this Department of Nuclear Engineering and Engineering Physics in Gajah Mada. These are some publications that we have finished or we have done. I'm not trying to sell these books, but we have our booth outside, so if any of you are interested to see of our work. But we're focusing on an object which we call a built environment, which is actually a building, and we can expand a building towards a city. So our work now is started with the books that we initiated, and maybe I'm going to talk a little bit about the JetScript, and then what initiated our work, and then mostly about the JetScript role and the methodology that we use, and also our current key findings, which of course we are here also to invite everyone to collaborate with our future work. This work is actually or initiated through the funding from Visi Indonesia Raya MEC near Bersih, or it's a philanthropist organization that funded us since 2024. And here, JetScript is given the opportunity to support Indonesia's policy in zero carbon future in real estate or building sector. This started because of one of the book that I've showed, which is the roadmap of green building regulation from the Ministry of Public Work implementation in Indonesia, which we collected a lot of data to create the building reference of energy consumptions buildings in several types of buildings in Indonesia. So when we talk about real estate industry, then our major concern among all of the areas or civilization in Indonesia is basically is the urban area. The reason that we took this work, or we did this work, is because it is predicted by the UNDESA 2022 and IEA that the urbanization is going to continuously happening until the year of 2050, including in some countries in Asia Pacific, including Indonesia. It reaches up to 70%. And within those urban areas, they consume more than 75% of the global energy. And also, because of the activities there, then more than 60 until 70% are going to produce what we call the greenhouse gas emission. When we talk about greenhouse gas emission, we always, consider the climate change impact and etc. But just looking at the biocapacity per person, we can see that it's already predicted in the year 2030, even it's already minus. Which means here is that the ecological footprint per person is way more than the biocapacity. The ecological footprint per person here, we can say it's the biological productive area on land and sea, which is required to produce resources for a person to consume, and also the area needed to absorb the waste that we generate. So if it's already in a minus, not talking about climate change and everything, our Earth is already not capable to handle the population. So this is very important, and then we want to look whether Indonesia already have some strategies. So before we had shared from India and from Nepal, and now we see from Indonesia. Indonesia's enhanced NDC now sets emission reduction target to 29% for non-support unconditionally, and for 43.2% for international support, with international support. This national goal, we believe it's very important to have the city as the central actors, since most of the emissions are happening in the city because of the lifestyle and everything, and things that really produce this energy, or sorry, the carbon emission. Does Indonesia have a strategy, or do we have any actions or mitigation plan? We have since 2017 a program. It was initiated in 2017, but now currently from 93 cities in Indonesia, 74 already participate in what we call Integrated Sustainability Indonesia Movement, ISIM, and about 105 regencies already participate in this activity from around 415 all around Indonesia. This means that actually a lot of cities already know it's very important to start moving towards sustainability action. Now, we've also looked at several cities in Indonesia. We found in Belitung, this is something that they have on their website. They've already stated that there are components very important related with SDGs, and also the component for cities. They need renewable energy and energy efficiency, which is related with SDGs 7 and SDGs 11. And then we also need waste management, circular economy, responsible consumption and production, which would be more related with the SDGs 12. And then there's also sustainable ecosystem. If it's life underwater, then maybe it's the SDGs 14, life on land, SDGs 15, everything towards climate action in SDGs 13. So all of those indicators related with the SDGs are already in some of the Indonesian actions and already adopted by some of the cities. Even we also understand that, or some cities also understand, the components of having the ability to achieve a sustainable city is having a smart city concept. And the smart city concept is having smart mobility, green infrastructure, circular economy, resilient systems, smart city, and green city itself. Now, among all of those components for the smart city or a sustainable city, Chet's group here want to propose a method, or we want to propose a collaboration towards a more depth study or work in the green infrastructure. Here we want to promote net zero buildings within the use of renewable energy and also green materials. And so Chet's group role in this initiative is to fill the policy and knowledge gaps on building sector emission. We also want to align outcomes with the Indonesia's NDC targets. We also want to identify pathways for building decarbonization in Indonesia. What we have done so far is our methodology is we look at the policy framework review. Here we visited. Not only that we do it online or search with the references, but we also visited and talked to local governments. Some of them already have some initiatives, but maybe not yet in a mandatory or regulatory terms, and therefore we also come up with some brief policies that help these local governments to actually execute the regulation. And then we also did some research about energy and emission data analysis. This has been done since 2023, supported by GPPN at that time. And then we've helped them to map out the energy consumption of several types of buildings all around Indonesia. And that's when the book of roadmap for implementation, PGH, Bangunan Gedung Hijau, or the Green Building Regulation from the Ministry of Public Work was established. And then we also did some comparative study of a certification system. So here, Indonesia so far has two main certification system related with green building, which is one from the Green Building Council of Indonesia. We call it Greenship, and then the other one is from the Ministry of Public Work and Housing at that time. Now Ministry of Public Work is the PGH, Bangunan Gedung Hijau. So how do we do it? Because we understand that there's a lot of fragmentation in the implementation of this green building regulation or the green building mandatory system. We try to collaborate more like a triple helix approach. We have initiated a consortium which consists of universities, researchers, digital simulation, and then we also initiated some workforce education from several universities in Indonesia. We also work with the industry. We initiated also not a formal consortium, especially industry that works in prefabrication or green materials or green technology. And one of the things that we emphasize here is that we really want the industry in Indonesia, the material industry or architectural products in Indonesia started to really look at their carbon footprint. This is something that is not yet being done in our country. One of the obstacles here when we did this collaboration with the industry that's turned out a very simple standard is not yet ready here in Indonesia, which is related with building construction dimensions. This is something that seems very simple, but as simple as we buy a green door, there's no a certain dimension standard, so it's very difficult to adopt the technology, what you call it, national-wide. And then the last one is also we are involving the government in our work, green building permits and subsides by national and local authorities. This is some of our work that we've been doing. All the pictures are about people, while actually our object is building, right? But this is showing that we have been having collaboration and involving a lot of entities or a lot of organization in our work. And okay, so my presentation will start with the findings now. The first finding is that we understand the building sector is a rising carbon contributor. We see that building sector's true carbon footprint is far larger when indirect and embodied emissions are included. Among all of the buildings, this also includes the residential building, and why we did specifically look at residential building, because the decarbonization idea is also for the real estate industry. So one of the building sector is in a residential industry, and also we do have commercial building, but commercial building is something that kind of difficult to lead towards more national policy. Anyway, we found out that there steadily rose the carbon emission from buildings, growing faster than major other sectors. And then now, what about the emission reduction? Do we still have potential hopes in Indonesia? Well, actually, if we look at the forest area, we still have more than 95.2 million hectares of forestry in Indonesia. So when we say that maybe the fastest or the potential way to reduce the carbon emission in Indonesia is by using forestry and other land uses for carbon offset, provide the largest reduction potential. At this other side, then also it shows that we have a very fast emission growth due to the energy sector. However, okay, I'm going to speed up because we have 20 minutes. However, this decarbonization opportunity using the FOLU, forest and other land uses, are not really a potential benefits in urban areas, because we know there are limitations, the open area or the green area are limited. And therefore, we've done some more work, more technological work. We looked at how the commercial and resident building can contribute to the emission reduction is by using efficient appliances and lighting. And it even could contribute up to 38 megaton carbon dioxide equivalent emission. And then we try to classify. There are building types based on their emission levels. The white area are the white, area of the building that are having clean energy applied. Now, why we cannot have all of them white? Because we understand in Indonesia, our primary energy source is still from fossil fuel usage. Therefore, what we can achieve, or what we propose, is to have a low emission building. And of course, later on, we want to have also some carbon offset or remove it. But in urban areas, it's still a very challenging thing to do. Anyway, if these steps can be followed, moving from a baseline building to low emission building to net zero operational carbon building, then one day Indonesia will have a net zero emission building, not as a concept, but as a product in the building sector. We look at the Indonesian regulatory framework. There are already some existing regulation that help to reduce or decarbonize building sectors in Indonesia. Some of the targets are also already given. But I think the most important thing for us to do is the framework demonstrates that green building regulation is not merely about compliance, but it's about the strategy to accelerate decarbonization and sustainable urban development. So we use green building regulation as our strategic frameworks. Now, if we look closely into these green building regulation, we see that establishing standards integrate technical specifications for all of the building systems or utilization, like the HVAC system, lighting, insulation, with passive design and sustainable materials can ensure performance baselines. And then there's building of credible certification system. There's embedded enforcement to comply with the mechanisms, using smart buildings, and then expanding financing pathways, designing incentives and disincentives, and also the most important thing is investing in human capital development, because these green building regulation will not succeed in this implementation if the human capital development is also not done. As simply as using, having a green building, but then the occupants does not know how to have a green behavior. And then Indonesia's policy ecosystem for the decarbonization is actually a policy ecosystem that is combining of a regulatory, financial, and capacity building measure, as I have mentioned before. We have tried in JetScript to actually identify what are the regulatory measures that we have now, the building assessment method, the financial instrument, and the economic instrument, the capacity building, and overall performance. And so these are the things that we identify by having our team travel around several cities in Indonesia. Since we are from engineering, most of our perspective are numbers and also looking at technological interventions. So these are the interventions that we have highlighted, and we want to promote it as, maybe a rule of thumb on how to actually implement the green building regulation to achieve the net zero emission building. For the HVAC system, or heating, ventilating, air conditioning, we look at if we use energy efficiency HVAC system, then it reduces the energy consumption even up to 50%. Of course, then the consequences will give a good, results in the carbon emission reduction. And then for the lighting system, if we use energy efficient lighting system, it's also created less than 75% energy consumption, especially if we use daylight, and also it will have a payback under 1 year. So this is, I think the lighting system is so far still the fastest technology and the easiest technology to be applied in achieving a green building. And then for mechanical ventilation, the payback is quite longer, 7 until 10 years, because of the tropical climate. It's kind of difficult for us to get a thermal comfort condition without using the mechanical ventilation or even using the HVAC system that I have mentioned previously. For other building systems, the payback period is 3.5 until 5 years, and the energy reduction is 30 to 50%. So in summary, we say that if we want to have a building transformation from conventional buildings or buildings that have not yet applied green buildings and even smart building technologies to achieve a sustainable city and SDGs that promote SDGs or achieve SDGs, it is important for us to have regulatory measures, to have market incentive measures. Also, it is important for us to have information, fact system or supporting system, and not to include. Also, we have to pay attention in the advisory and leadership, which is related with the human capacity building that I have mentioned before. Together with all of this, then JetScript hope that we can accelerate in the achievement of the net zero emission building, not as a concept, but as a real object in our building sectors in Indonesia. I think that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Dr. Sentagi is the director of JetScript UGM. So we have completed 3 presenters with 3 topics spread over from energy transition in India, and then circular economy and solid waste, or waste in general from Nepal, and building energy in Indonesia. So we have a representative from each country. So I would like to invite the question for this quite big topic and spread over this maybe from audience. Yeah, one from two, three. Okay, please. The first is this, and then yeah. Okay. And then state for whom you would like to ask.
I want to ask Professor Surya Narayan, because in this era is renewable energy transition is being the global issues that I interested in. The question is, many governments still prioritize rapid economics, right? And sometimes it's not aligned with renewable transition energies. So the question is, how can renewable energy transition policies be designed to align with such growth-oriented agendas? Thanks.
Sorry. In terms of renewable energy transition for economic growth, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So with regard to the economic growth, as Dr. Dinesh also mentioned, we have the potential of the human capital, right? So we have to train this human capital and make use them wisely. And also we have the plenty of natural resources. So we identified a lot of water bodies is a potential source for our floating solar power plants, as well as we have, especially in the northeastern states and very rough terrain regions, and a lot of solar potential is highly possible for generating the renewable energy. That becomes the economic possibility for reducing the import of crude materials from abroad. So in that way we can boost our economy as well as for a green and sustainable future. Thank you. I hope I answered your question.
But we know if many countries that developed countries is still prioritized if maybe fossil energy is more efficient because the cost and something like that. Is it being the problem or not? Because if we know that renewable energy need a lot of cost to explore more and more.
Yeah.
That's true. Actually, it depends on the government policy, how we are taking forward to promote the green energy. And huge investment, as you rightly said, huge investment is required, but that is highly difficult for the underdeveloped countries. But they need the coordinated and collaborative support from the, because for example, India is exporting transmitting the energy from the grid to the neighboring countries. Like that, the underdeveloped countries should have the collaboration with the neighboring countries, and they have to explore the possibilities to overcome these issues. And also the effective policy measures, how we are training our manpower and how we are integrating the all the renewable resources for beneficial for the country. So all these measures are very essential to overcome this issue.
Okay, thank you. Mas, your name is?
Rizaldi.
Rizaldi, okay. Thank you, Mas Rizaldi.
Okay.
The next question, can you ask for Nepal or Indonesia, please? Next. Yep.
But I'm sorry, my question is for the first speaker. Is it allowed? Still the first speaker.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, I would like to say thank you to the speakers. It's been a very insightful and fascinating session for me. I have two questions for Professor Suryana, if I may.
Please.
Okay, the first question is that regarding solar panel. From what I see, it seems like solar panel installation has become a major step in the attempt of achieving net zero emission for India.
Yes.
However, we know that solar panel always has the same issue, which is about, for example, its production of electricity. It peaks throughout the day when the demand is normal. When the night comes and the demand is greater than ever, its production of electricity reaches to slim to none. And it creates an issue of intermittency, which becomes the unreliable characteristic of solar panel.
Yes.
How does India plan to tackle on this issue? Is it through the integration of hydrogen energy production, for example, or India is exploring other possibilities as well? And then here comes the second question, I'm sorry. When we talk about electric vehicle, which is the hot topic for everybody around the globe, India, China, USA, everybody's trying to accelerate the development of electric vehicle. But when we talk about electric vehicle, of course, we cannot take the issue of its battery waste for granted, which is very chemical and it's harmful, detrimental for the environment. How does India try to or plan to handle the problem of its battery waste in the forthcoming times? Okay, those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. The first question, to overcome the issue of solar panels issues. So as I mentioned in the presentations, the solar energy is already we are in the process of integrating with the hydrogen mission, green hydrogen mission. So that is the only way. The other thing is the solar panels, technically I'm not strong what the technical issues are there. But in terms of success rate, India in the last 10 years, we are able to achieve 98% of achievement because as Dinesh also mentioned, we set the target for 2030 for 50% of renewable energy. But majority of the renewable energy comes from our solar mission because of the high quality solar panels that the Make in India is helping for the manufacturers to produce the high quality solar panels in India. So that way we are overcoming the city issue. With regard to the EV, again I mentioned in my presentation, yes, storage capacity as well as the recycling and that issues are still we are exploring the research and innovation, and we are investing huge amount. And Government of India is supporting a lot of grants to the institutions as well as the industries to overcome these issues. So yesterday also we came across some kind of grants announcement from the Government of India to overcome the recycling issues. So through this we are trying to address the problems with the EV recycling issues. Hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. And your name is?
My name is Bintang.
Okay, Bintang. Third question from this side. Hope you ask for Nepal and Indonesia representative. So we have. Yeah. But spread over, yeah?
Yeah, good morning.
Wide.
My name is Olivia Abrar from PLN. I also have a question for Professor Suryana Rayana. The first question is, considering that India is a large country,
yes.
How was the development of the solar energy system in India? Is it primarily distributed or centralized? And how is the growth of the implementation of the solar energy system there? The second question is, what is the major challenges for the India to face the transition from gasoline-based to electric vehicle-based? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. With regard to the centralization and decentralization, yes, we have the both. Though the central government is give the broad agenda, the state governments are actively playing the role, the effective implementation of the solar mission, what the government of India is supporting for the across India. The main role lies with the state governments. So whatever the grants are coming from the central government, the implementation should lies with the state government efficiency. So state governments are playing the major role to implement the missions and the effective use of the grants that is supplied by the central government. With regard to the second questions, can I repeat the second question? EV, how we are?
Yeah, what is the major challenge that India have faced and overcome in the transition of the gasoline-based vehicles to electric vehicles?
Okay, the major challenge is the people acceptance, first of all. That is the major challenge, people acceptance. And second thing is lack of the powering stations, right? Right now it is feasible for the major cities and smart cities, not to the rural level. So we have to reach to the rural level. We have to establish more powering stations in the rural areas also. That is a major challenge we are facing. But as I mentioned in the presentation, government is giving a lot of incentives at a maximum 40% of cost reduction from the manufacturing cost. Those who are procuring the EV vehicles, they can get the 40% reduction from the manufacturing cost. In that way, we are promoting, but we are trying to overcome these issues, establishing more power stations in the rural areas also. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
Okay, thank you. So I would like to invite question for Nepal and Indonesia representative. Any question for Ibu Sentagi and Dr. Rabindra, please? Okay, one. Can you ask for these two?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have a question to Ibu.
Okay.
My name is Andika Prastawa. I am from BRIN, Badan Riset Innovation Nasional, and I happen to be chairman of the Indonesian Energy Conservation and Energy Efficiency Society. I was interested with your presentation, Ibu, about the smart city and smart system, including the energy efficiency, green building, and so on. The energy efficiency is sometimes considered as the first fuel. And in, what do you call it, classic energy expansion planning is supposed to be first we take a look at the demand side first, and then after that into the supply side. But what we have been practiced so far is just only to see the supply side expansion planning like what we have in our PTOL. My question is that what is your response or your view about the energy efficiency activity in Indonesia? Why it's kind of really slow in development and not being the mainstream in energy planning, so that we can effectively and efficiently in planning the energy expansion planning. So that, as you see, PLN has suffered of the overcapacity. I think that's because one of the reasons is that they are not take a look about the what efficiency that can be done in their demand before they expansion their system. Well, this not to mention about the political political issues about the government. So, what is your view, Bu? How we can streamlining, mainstreaming the energy efficiency in Indonesia? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Pa Andika, for the question. That is actually the homework that we have not yet finished in JetScript. That is why we were looking at those several sectors or organization, including from the research side and then also from the industry or green materials, and also from the government or the policies. One of the fact that we were very surprised when we were met with all of the others NGO or organization that works in this decarbonization in Indonesia is that we were the only research group or the only organization handling building sectors. most of them are still working in the transition energy. As you mentioned, most of them still highlighting on the supply side. So when we also talk with organizations that have conducted research or studies related with the building baseline for their energy consumption index, or IKE in Indonesia, we found out that they are still using very limited samples or building samples. Maybe not more than 10 cities in Indonesia, which we believe that every cities in different island would have different climate challenges, and of course then the energy demand would be very specific or different from one island to one, or one cities to another cities. And therefore, it could be that the baseline for the building energy consumption or describing the demand itself should be looked very closely for those different regions. But it does not yet occur that thing. So that is one homework. And then later on, of course, the technology for the supply from the clean energy or the renewable energy. We did some audit energy as well. And then now the problem for, say, implementation of the green building regulation or even to conduct an audit energy is the human capacity. In several cities, even the government side, they are not yet ready to conduct those not analysis, just collecting data itself. There's not yet what you call a standardized tools that can say, okay, this is Indonesia's energy consumption baseline. If we want to have an energy efficiency, then this would be the solutions. If we do not have yet the baseline, then how can we say that we are already energy efficient? So these are still some homeworks, and my apologies that I cannot really say what would we plan, but we are still in our chat script doing from several, what you call it, pathways at once, from the research side, and also we approach to the government, and also from the industry. So we're trying to have all of the players to do their part first, and then later on we will see maybe in the next year or 5 years from now, where is that initiative heading to, and hopefully we already can get the national solution for that. Maybe that's my point of view. Okay, I hope it answered, yes.
Thank you, Bu Sengdagi. Due to our time constraints, so sorry, we have to conclude our conversation, but I would like to invite the closing statement first from Dr. Rabindra Prasad, Nepal, please.
Thank you very much, even though I didn't get any questions from the floor. But what I know that circular economy is very important for the globe, not only for Nepal, of course. And I'm highlighting what are the materials that we lost in the environment, and that has never been being utilized or never being used and never come back to our life cycles. So this is how my perspective is to utilize every component of the materials that we are using and not being utilizing fully of its value chain. So in that perspective, and then I think as a scientist, how we can contribute, how we can generate the evidence, and how we can convince the governments of any government of the world that this sort of the informations could be circulated to the government, and trying to convince them and make the ecosystem that how much the materials could be utilized if we have properly planned. So in that context, we are trying our best to convince the general public, government, and other peoples in the country, and also maybe attending the energy conference here in the Indonesia. I realized that we are talking about the nuclear energy, solar energy, and other form of the energy, that they are equally important. And as he mentioned that how much the energy we are using in the building, is also very much important we have to focus on, but at the same time industry and the transportation sector are being utilizing a huge amount of the energy that has to be supplied, and but as he nicely pointed out that we need to have one grid in the whole planet so that we can save the energy wherever we need, we can use it. Like India and Nepal, what we are doing is like we are only 100% renewable energy power generation. We ultimately rely on the hydropower generations that has been supplied to the India, but when we are deficient in the dry season, then we import from India. This is how we are trying to have one kind of the circular kind of the energy supply. So in this context, I think the international forums would have the good and ample opportunities to share our research findings, feelings, and then the activities, or maybe the style that we are working in our energy system that could be implemented to Indonesia, or we can learn from you that how we can implement in our countries also. So I think for the networking and collaborations opportunities, I found this is very much wonderful opportunities, and I would like to thank the organizing committee and then moderator, sir, that you are given the ample time to share what we are doing and to listen to all of the audiences and the fellow panelists. Thank you very much, sir.
Great, thank you very much, Dr. Rabindra Prasad, Professor Suryanarayan, and Dr. Santagi. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity again. In very short, through my presentations, I can say that everyone talks about the net zero, but whether it is feasible for the underdeveloped and South countries. So that really a big question stands behind us, before us. But I can say the example from India, there are two major schemes. Make in India, like make in our own country products, and self-reliant capability of individual countries. How we can explore these opportunities, and we can support the community and reach out to the investors, how we can bring them into the single mission to be a self-reliant country. So that is most important. We have to take lessons from the countries like India and other countries, how they are coming up as a developing and emerging economy. So that is most important for the next few years for the developing economies and the underdeveloped economies, because the trade wars is happening that is significantly impacting the underdeveloped countries. So this is the right time to think of how we are going to be a self-reliant. So this is my message, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Dr. Santagi?
Okay, I'll try to keep it short as well. Maybe more specifically on our attempt to accelerate the decarbonization of building sectors everywhere, not only in Indonesia. Those four factors that I have mentioned, the regulation, the market incentive, the information or knowledge, and also, of course, that supports advisory and leadership for human capacity building. I guess all of those four factors are very important because it reflects not only policy-driven but also market-driven initiatives toward decarbonization.
Thank you very much. Let's close our panel discussion and give applause to three great presenters. Thank you very much, and I return it to MC.
Okay, thank you so very much, Mr. Aas, and please give a big round of applause to our moderator for leading such insightful discussion. And please stand, all speakers and moderator. And this is the time for token of appreciation. And we would like to invite Dr. Vidya Rosita, Vice Head of the Department of Nuclear Engineering and Engineering Physics, to come forward and to present the token of appreciation to all speakers. And one by one, we will call the name. First to Insinyur Santagi Sesotya Utami, ST-MSc PhD from Universitas Gadjah Mada. Next to Professor Dr. S. Surya Narayanan from JSS Science and Technology University, India. And next to Dr. Rabindra Prasad Dakal from Nepal Academy of Science and Technology. And also we thanks to Mr. Dinesh Kumar, an MTech from Joint Director at Energy Management Center, Kerala, India. Although he's not here with us in person to receive a token of appreciation from Dr. Vidya. Thank you so truly for your valuable contribution being a speaker in this session. And please stand together to the center of the stage in front of the table and make some photos together. Okay, we'll capture this moment in 3, 2, 1, capture. Please raising your right hand like this, give spirit to everybody here. Yeah, okay, 3, 2, 1, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Vidya. And also thank you, moderator, Mr. Raas, and also all speakers in online and on site. And please back to your seats. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we will now continue with the next part of our agenda, a set of parallel sessions, which will run approximately 2 hours. This session will be held in the designated breakout rooms, Yudhishthira, Bima, and Arjuna. And after that, we'll gather for a networking lunch until 1 p.m. You may also visit poster and exhibition area while you're having break. And finally, we invite you to return here for our closing ceremony and awarding session, which will begin promptly at 1:45 p.m. in this main hall. And we encourage everyone to stay until end as we celebrate the highlights of ASTECHNOVA 2025 and announce outstanding best paper and best presenters at 1:45 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we thanks to everyone and have a nice parallel session.
Bye.